Welcome to the Alchemy Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Hasty, business mindset coach and sound healer. In this podcast, you'll find me sharing my wisdom and knowledge on mindset, entrepreneurial life, spirituality and inner development, sound healings, and of course, my life. So without further ado, let's begin. Welcome back to the Alchemy Mindset Podcast. I am so happy to have you tuning in from wherever you are. If you're, again, a regular follower, someone who's been hanging out with me on the socials or in any of my sound classes, welcome. So pleased to have you here today. And if you're new, and if this is the first or maybe the second or whatever time that you stumbled across me, welcome again. So pleased to have you all here today. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about my journey into sound healing. But first, before we even start, I want to just give you a quick cyclone update, because I know in the previous episode I said I was recording it on the edge of a cyclone Anika that was traveling down the coast. She took a wide berth, went far out into sea, so that we only ended up getting some grey, cloudy days, lots of rain, some wind, but no serious damage, which is a bit of a relief, because at the end of the day, you don't really want to have to experience the effects of a cyclone, but at the same time, it's a bit disappointing because you're just kind of hoping for a bit more trauma. But anyway, and also I just want to highlight one important key thing. I cannot believe I forgot this. So in the first or the previous episode, I was just telling you a little bit about myself, things that I'm passionate about and interested in. I forgot to say that I love dancing. Oh my goodness, how could I have forgotten to actually say that? So dancing is one of the key things, one of my lifelong passions. I've been dancing ever since I was a tiny tot. And here in Broome, I am so blessed to have some amazing dance studios to go hang out at and have fun with. So big shout out to Studio 34 and also to the Hangar Aerial Fitness, which is where I spend a lot of my time. That's where I do my pole dancing. I love it. I love the girls there. You are my pole family. And I also use their space to hold the hammock and sound bath healings, which are a beautiful event where people can just rest, feel gently cocooned in a hammock, and I play a sound bath while they're just suspended, resting, relaxing into these beautiful sounds and frequencies. And I love it so much because I actually take the bowls in and around the hammock, so people really get that all-enveloping kind of feeling of being in sound. So now I've just given you a little snippet about a sound healing I do. Let's just start with why I got into sound healing. I'm not going to lie, I never really thought I would be a musician of sorts, if you could say that. I've always loved dancing and performing far more than actually playing an instrument. And I will say in high school I played the flute and I was terrible, but I did it. So I'm just going to rewind the clock a bit and go back to my very first ever sound healing experience, which I didn't really know that's what I was going to, like the event. I didn't even know what I was really going along to see or experience with my friend. And this was back in Melbourne. It was in Fitzroy, I think somewhere just off Brunswick Street. I feel like I'm remembering it as like an old church hall or something like that. And a friend of mine said, hey, we should come and listen to these people that are performing. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll come. I'm up for anything. Anyway, I get there, not really knowing what to expect. But as you walk in through the door, there's 3 or 4 men that were part of the group. And I will say the group was One Tribe, which are actually a fantastic group of musicians from Perth. And they do lots of amazing sound healing journeys and shamanic experiences. And I actually had the pleasure of working with Mark. Many years later here in Broome, he came up and did a shamanic experience, and that was a beautiful week. Anyway, so we've just been cleansed or saged and smudged as we've walked in. There's been sage wafted over us, incense. rattles and shakers, Tibetan chimes, and then we're all asked to go and take a place on the mat or the floor. We're lying down on yoga mats. I think there was little eye pillows, maybe a blanket, and then it started. And oh my goodness, this was such a beautiful healing to receive. There was didgeridoos played over us, rain sticks, drums, singing. It was incredible. I cannot even remember how long it went for or what happened, but I know I just went very deep, very relaxed, and felt so blissful afterwards. So that was my first experience, and not really thinking much more about it or thinking, oh yes, one day I'd love to do something like this. It was only later, after I'd moved to Broome, that I really felt this inkling, this maybe intuitive nudge to explore and find out more about sound healing. And this all came through a beautiful, amazing spiritual teacher, Heather Jean. She's actually down in WA, from Bunbury kind of area. And she is also known as the Oracle of Sound. And she regularly was coming up to Broome to offer like retreats and courses and channeling and healings. And she was coming up to Broome and she was offering sound healing or sound baths. And the first time I ever went, again, not really knowing what to expect, but knowing that I was going to receive something that I felt like I needed or wanted, again, lying on the floor, and I just went somewhere. I don't even know what happened. All I remember is waking up at the end going, there's silence. Are we still here, or am I the last one left? And it was incredible. And it was such a beautiful experience that when she was offering more classes, I would go regularly, just because she played these beautiful singing bowls. And I don't know what it was. Like, she would start with singing and chanting and maybe some drumming, which when she did the drumming, I really felt it go straight into me. It was like quite jarring, but later on I found that that was actually like bringing my spirit back into myself and bringing and grounding me again, helping to cleanse things that weren't needed and letting go. But when she played those bowls, it was like lights out, everything's gone, we're resting. And I went into a very deep place. You know, she could have had like a ton of baby elephants come and prance around the room. I would not have known I was that far, like that deep. And I'd always wake up going, what happened? Like, did I just miss all that? Anyway, it was, I can't remember exactly when it was. I think it was roughly about mid 2019. Heather was coming up and she was doing a retreat for a week. And it was during that time that I reached out to her and said that I want to learn more about sound healing. And this was because prior to her coming and me attending that retreat, I was starting to find in my own healings that I was offering to people. I was doing Reiki healings, blending in all the knowledge that I was learning from different teachers, that for some reason I wanted to like sing, or I wanted to make a sound when I was healing people or working on people. And I'd also previously had bought in like a little Tibetan singing bowl, like one of those ones you get from like a crystal kind of shop, and not knowing much about it, but I was noticing that when I played it, it would make different sounds according to where I placed it around someone or how I held it. Sometimes it would ring like a telephone. It would go do ring. Sometimes it would be quite dull and dense, other times really loud and vibrant. Sometimes it would take forever to get going. And I was like, okay, this is something that's, I don't think this is my playing. I feel like this is something energetic. There's something happening in this experience. I need to know more. And then in this retreat, there were some beautiful ladies attending from Perth that were also students or attendees of Heather's classes. And they'd had done her introduction to sound healing. Some of them had done all the training and were now working with these beautiful Alchemy crystal singing bowls. And I just felt like, yes, I think this is what I need to do. I'm ready to learn this. Let's just see where this takes me, what happens. And that's how I've always felt, that if I felt drawn to something, whether I use it 100% or not, I know that I'm getting value out of this thing that I'm learning. So I approached Heather and I said, are you by any chance offering your introduction or your level 1? She said, oh, I was going to offer it here in Broome, but I hadn't much interest, she said, what I could do is offer it as a private 2-day course with you, and then we can tailor it really to your needs, and you can come away with an introduction or the level 1 of sound healing. And I'm like, yeah, sure, sign me up. I'm not doing anything this weekend. So I learned in the first session with her about music. We went over like music theory, the chakras, the C major scale, some of the sounds that the chakras represent, and also how to play these truly divine, very, very fairy-like elfin chakra chimes. So there's a set of, I think there are 9 chimes that go all the way from Earth Star Chakra all the way to the Soul Star Chakra, and they're tuned at, I think it's 444 hertz, and each one represents a chakra, so that as you place it on someone and you play it very gently, it tunes and balances that person's chakra. It's just divine, very simple. You wouldn't think it would do much, but people just relax. You can hear the changes and shifts within their own energy. You can hear the changes in the sound and the way they're played, and it was just something really beautiful. So after having done her first level, she went back down towards Perth, and I contacted her and said, right, I'm ready. I really want to do level 2. I want to do level 3. I want to learn these bowls. Like, I feel like they're calling for me. Oh, and that was also because, sorry, just totally remembered this now. How did I forget it? During that time she was here, she had some bowls with her. And she said, look, we don't really explore bowls until later on, but I want you to meet these bowls because I feel like one of these bowls is your bowl. And so she brought these 3 bowls she brought in are actually my first 3 sets of Alchemy crystal singing bowls. It was the pink ocean gold, the selenite, and the ruby. And she played, and we played them, and I found that they were just so beautiful to listen to, and I could make them sing. It was the little pink ocean gold that really spoke to me. And she said, and Heather at the time was just in tears. She goes, these bowls need to be with you. I can really feel it. And I'm like, they're nice. I just don't know if I'm connecting. And she said, it's okay. Like, you may not be experiencing this 100% yet. Just be with them and see how you feel. And so I continued playing the little pink ocean. I actually was like, got this feeling that I had to pick her up. Like, she didn't want to be just played on the table or wherever I had her play. She wanted to be held. And as soon as I held her, she changed. She actually, like I say, the bowls get vocal is when they get to be like, they really sing a bit louder. They get more expressive. You can definitely hear it when they work on different people, or if I'm working on myself or in a group, which one is really needing to come out and play for the group that day. Anyway, this little pink, she just suddenly felt like she was my baby. She was like something really important for me, that she had some really important messages for me. And of course, I couldn't leave her without her sisters, because the other 2 just played so harmoniously with them. They're actually what's being paired up as a mini set. So they weren't designed to be as a set. They were just paired up according to the notes that they play and the sounds, so that they actually make a little mini set, which is beautiful. And so I put down a deposit, and I was lay-buying these bowls, not yet to own them. And it was, I think, towards the end of November. I actually had travelled down to Perth, went down to see Heather, stayed for a week. We did 2 days of the level 2 and then 2 days of the level 3. And I finished coming away with not only my 3 beautiful pink bowls, but had also put down a deposit on another 3. So I was soon to be a bowl mother of 6 bowls. And the other 3 that were coming into my life was the Smoky Quartz, the Abalone White Light Ocean Gold, and the Aqua Aura Gold. And I will say that these bowls you don't choose them, they choose you. And this is really like special, but at the time I went down to, at the time I went down to do the final 2 trainings with Heather, my uncle was really sick, and we got the information that it was terminal and that he may not live to Christmas. Being the fighter that he is, he hung in there, and he made it through until April the following year. This particular bowl, at the time that I went to, it was one of the mornings I went, and I was just like in tears, and I said, today, Heather, can we please do a healing for my uncle? He's really sick. it's terminal, and I'm just so afraid for him, and I'm really sad. And she said, yeah, let's do this. Let's practice playing these bowls and do that. And it was like this abalone just spoke his energy. And as soon as I played this bowl, I felt like his angels were with him, that there was healing being sent to him, and that he would be okay. And this abalone, white light ocean gold, I just felt like his energy of being with the ocean was in this bowl. And my uncle, up until a certain period of time in his life, he was, I'd say, quite adventurous. He really loved like snorkeling and scuba diving. And I just felt like this energy and this essence of freedom that he hadn't been able to have for a while now was coming out through this bowl, and it was just beautiful. So I knew that this bowl was important. I knew that this bowl was needed and intended for him, and I knew that I had to have this bowl in my life. And then when I sat with these bowls for a bit longer later on, these bowls said to me, we need to travel. We need to go out into the world and share our energy and our healing and our message. And you're going to do that. So you have to come. We have to come with you. And of course, I couldn't take one. I had to take the 3 because these again were paired up as a little mini set. So I ended up with the smoky quartz, the white light abalone, and the aqua aura gold. So that was pretty much how it happened and unfolded. And then by the time I got back to Broome, I had these 3 initial bowls with me, and it wasn't until the following year that I got my next 3. But I set myself up. I went, right, well, I'm a sound healer now. I need to go practice this and create a class. I hadn't done a sound healing class ever before, but I had done group meditations before, and I certainly wasn't unused to talking in front of large groups, being the performer that I am. So I decided to hold a sound healing. It was my first one. I think I had ended up like 18 people in this massive room. It was incredible. It was such a great experience. And I just knew that this was something really important that I had to share. This was something that these bowls were wanting to share, and that the healing that was going to come from these bowls was just going to be really incredible and so beneficial to the people in my community and the people that were my clients. So then, of course, I created like a little sound healing massage treatment. So people would come in for a massage, you'd receive some energy healing with the bowls. And then I was also creating the sound healing classes, which I was having a lot of fun with. And I was really experiencing what it is like to be a teacher, and also, well, let's say facilitator of a class, and how these bowls were communicating, how I was playing these bowls. Like, I would have to say, with anything that you do in life, it always comes with practice. It always comes with doing that thing over and over again and learning from it each time. And I know that from the way I was playing at my first sound bath healing to the way I play now are completely different. I know that the way I interact and I communicate with these bowls is completely different. I know that these bowls have helped evolve and given me so many blessings. It's just incredible. And it's the one thing that I just love doing. Like, I have them set up every day. They're currently now on 2 benches, and I can just walk between them and play them as I wish. And I just love the sounds that come from them. So then there was a little break in my journey or my business due to COVID. And it was in that time that I wanted to explore online sound healing, because it seemed that everybody was suddenly on a rush to communicate and teach whatever they were doing online to support their existing clients and customers with online knowledge, to keep everybody, I guess, in that space of we can still be normal to some respect despite the chaos and the uncertainty going on and around us. And it was then that I was starting to experiment with the online. At that moment in time, Zoom was rubbish. Zoom for sound healings was just horrendous, and it was really disheartening. When you would play, Zoom was only at that moment in time designed for vocal, conversation, talking, lectures, conferences, and not designed to pick up other sounds. So I don't know what it was. Like, I was chatting to somebody online about it, whether it's their bandwidth or something. I don't know what the technical term is, but it just wasn't able to pick up different sounds coming in from different places all at once. So it would be like I would play the bowl and it would fade in and out. My voice would fade in and out. It was just really horrible in my own opinion. So I do apologize to those who, stuck by me and persevered with whatever sounds came out of those Zoom recordings. But what I did find out that was Facebook and Instagram were a better source for communicating sound healings because of the way they, the way that technology is designed or that platform. So I actually did all my sound healings on Facebook. I was offering like free weekly ones, which were lots of fun, and they were just little short ones. They are still up on my Facebook page, should you want to go check that out, Anna F. Hasty. I was then starting to want to know more about sound healing, and I was starting to look into who else was out there doing sound healings and who had these bowls. And I think it was towards the end of that year that I came across Susie from the Copper Vessel, and I joined her Divinely Guided Mentoring Program, which was a 6-month program taking you through business as a healer. And it was just phenomenal to connect with her because she had built such an incredible online space and presence of being a sound healer. She taught us everything we needed to know about how to set ourselves up to host and run paid events online, which is why I do them through YouTube. While people love going to the in-person events, and I know that if you can, it's worthwhile, but I have honestly, being in Broome, my access to other sound healers is a bit limited. There is another beautiful lady in town, Monique, who does sound healings, but her classes clash with the dance class. So I'm not always able to get to one of her classes. All the other sound healings I have experienced have genuinely and generally been online. And Susie's, after listening to Susie's, I'm like, I felt like she was in the room with me. That quality of sound was just so profound, amazing. So in that time, I connected with these beautiful souls who also had crystal bowls, had Tibetan bowls. This is where I met my business bestie, Ayumi, from Japan, from Jiang Universe. And we've been communicating. We communicate every day, talk about sound healing, our business and things like that. And it was just such a wonderful experience and community to be a part of. And it was just such a blessing to be within Susie's teaching and her energy, because she is just such a beautiful soul in teaching what she knows and loves about sound baths, yoga, and energy healing. So that then took me into last year, 2021, and my sound healing classes were evolving, and that's when I teamed up with the Hangar, Sarah and Tony from the Hangar, the aerial fitness studio here in Broome, to do the hammocks and sound. So I was already doing sound baths, just where people lie on the floor and receive a 1-hour sound bath. I'd started doing yoga and sound because I had qualified as a yoga teacher, and that was where people would receive a 1-hour restorative or gentle yoga class and then have their 30 minutes of shavasana as a sound bath, and that was really, really good. I just loved that. I also had the opportunity to work with another yoga teacher in town, and we just teamed up, and it's just such beautiful energy between us, where she held a retreat down at one of the, like at a beach resort retreat, a couple of hours south of Broome and at Eco Beach. And she would do the yoga class, I would do the sound healing, and it's just magic. So that's pretty much where it's brought me to where I am now. I've now handed the yoga classes over to Nicole. So she and I have teamed up to do once a month a yin and sound. So she does the yin yoga, and then I do the sound bath healing. So we're still keeping that magic alive. And I do the ones at Flow and the ones at the Hangar. And I also now offer the monthly online sound healing, because as I said, I know that not everybody can get to an in-person sound healing, but the quality of sound that comes out from online and through technology these days is incredible. And I know I've had so much great feedback from my attendees. That was like you're in the room with me. That was incredible. That bowl spoke to me. That was so amazing. I felt so relaxed afterwards. My cat fell asleep. My, neurotic dog just chilled out. My kids are all resting on the lounge room floor. Like, it's so beautiful to hear people's experiences, even though we're not in the same room together. So that's why I do offer a variety, because I just want to make it so accessible for everybody. So just to explain what bowls I do have, just to keep you excited and interested, I have a selenite who's quite a large, she's a 10-inch bowl. She's very deep, very healing. I've also got the ruby. She is 7 inches. And then I've got the pink ocean gold. She's a 6-inch bowl. So between the three of them, there's like that deeper sound, a medium kind of sound, and a higher tone. Then I have the smoky quartz, which is she's 9 inches. She's quite deep, quite grounding. I have the abalone white light ocean gold. She's an 8-inch bowl. And then I have the aqua aura gold, which is a 7-inch bowl. So again, they have a beautiful complement of like those deeper sounds, the middle, and then the higher notes. And then my recent additions, I now have the amethyst with platinum, the tesseract salt and grandmother, mother of platinum, and the Lemurian seed with palladium. And they just play so beautifully with my little pink baby, and the sounds that they create. I just feel like these bowls are going to take us into new information, downloads, intuitive healing. Like, it's just so special. So special. Overall, I feel like the biggest thing that I've learned in my sound healing journey is you've got to follow your intuitive nudges. When you hear or feel or sense that something is taking you in a direction, take the time to explore it. There are so many times that I've done courses or like trainings and I've benefited from it personally, but may not have ended up using it professionally. That's okay. You just never know when these things may be of value, how they may impact you, some of the changes and the things that you'll experience from that. So always follow those intuitive nudges. They're like the breadcrumbs and the stepping stones into something new, and you just never know where they're going to take you, what you're going to learn or experience from them. What I want to do now is just finish off with a mini little sound bath for you all. And this little sound bath is going to be just a little snippet of the bowls that I have, just to give you a little taste of what I do, what it sounds like. So I hope you really enjoy it. Enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I can't believe how much of this journey it's taken me on and the things I've done. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a sound bath healing before? Are you a sound healer as well? What are your specialities and fortes and if you want to say, the instruments that you use within your sound baths? Also, if you are interested in learning about sound healing, buying crystal bowls, I'll pop all the links below of Heather, of Susie, and also I didn't mention this earlier, but my recent bowls are purchased from Geraldine from Crystal Cadence. I'll put all their details below. And if you're interested in coming to my next online sound healing, that is for the autumn equinox on Sunday, March the 20th at 3:30 p.m. West Australian time. You can tune in live or receive access to the recording through your RSVP. And that's going to be a fabulous sound bath to honor and welcome in the energy of autumn and the equinox that we'll be moving through. So I would so love to see you there and share these beautiful sounds and bowls with you. Feel free to reach out if you have any more questions or anything you'd like to know. I love sharing my knowledge and inspiring others to follow their passions. Until next time, have a fabulous day. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Please rate and review this podcast so that it can continue to thrive and reach more listeners. I love to know who my listeners are, so please screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Anna F. Hasty. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.